How does divorce affect the emotional development of a child? By Joana Gutierrez. Introduction. I will speak about how divorce affects children. This topic got my attention because I grew up in a family of divorced and remarried parents, and I find it interesting that in the readings of our previous chapters, there's a lot of things that I may relate to, but there are also many things that I cannot relate myself to. I do strongly believe that every case is different. Upon my research, there are many different types of effects on divorced children, including the child may lose economic security, the child may lose emotional security, the child may have decreased social and psychological maturation, the child may change his, her outlook on sexual behavior, the child may lose his or her religious faith and practice, the child may lose cognitive and academic motivation, the child may be less physically healthy, and the child may have higher risk of emotional distress. The child may lose economic security. One of the main worries in divorce for single parents is the income. Upon my research, most parents that get divorced, their income will decrease, and most of the time involves children moving to new homes in which the child's mom or dad can afford on their own. Keep in mind, not all parents receive financial support from the other parent. The child may lose emotional security. When it comes to emotions, the children's emotions are always different and may vary from person to person. But emotions are a big impact when it comes to children, especially when it comes to the time. Because before they were able to spend the time with their parents together, and it is now split in half, or 80 and 20%, with either of their parents. The child may have decreased social and psychological maturation. Children that have divorced parents may have lower scores on self-concept and social relationships. After divorce, depression, verbal aggression, violence, anxiety, and low self-esteem is common. The child decreases in their social and psychological maturation because most of the times the child's self-esteem is low because most children may think they are the problem or the reason why their parents got divorced. The child may change his or her outlook on sexual behavior. As we have learned in our lesson and upon my research, I noticed that those children of divorced parents are the ones that have an open approval of premarital sex, cohabitation, and divorce. Did you know that girls whose fathers left the home before they were 5 years old were 8 times more likely to become pregnant as adolescents than girls from intact families? And boys similarly have earlier sexual debuts and higher rates of sexual transmitted disease when they have experienced divorce in their families. The child may lose his or her religious faith and practice. This part I can relate to. As I said earlier, I do come from a divorced and remarried parents, and I can tell you that this is something I went through and in a sense, I'm still going through. I thought like many other children that it was normal if I started to live with my husband without getting married, that it was okay because my mother did the same thing. She remarried but did not legally get married. Religiously, her and I both knew it was wrong. But we continued to live like that because in my eyes, I didn't think there was anything wrong with that, which with what I was doing. But at my church, they were always telling us, they always told us that What we were going through was not God's way of doing things the right way. Both of us started losing religious faith and practice. Since religious practice has benefits in areas such as sexual restraints, the child of divorce may lose this protection, which, as I said, I did kind of go through and I do understand now. The child may be less physically healthy. Children living with married parents are less likely to be abused or neglected. Studies show that children in single-parent homes are more physically abused and neglected. The child may also have a higher risk of emotional distress. Children of divorced parents may feel a great deal of pain, loneliness, anxiety, and emotional upheaval. Eating habits also indicates what type of emotional distress the child goes through. That being said, if the child is overeating, sometimes they stress eat, maybe they are not eating enough. That will all vary depending on each person or child. Summary. Divorce tends to be a spinning point in the lives of children because everything changes for the child after divorce. It may be a positive change or it may also be a negative change. Due to the sudden change, the children may perform out in problematical ways, which are usually short-term behaviors. According to my research, children adjust to their post-divorce lives within 24 to 36 months. Although for some children, these behaviors can last for a little bit long term. As I continue to say throughout my whole presentation, there are many different factors into why each case may be different in the child's or person's effects. Young children and adolescents have different experiences than toddlers or preteens. I think it is also important to the parents to be more concerned about their children's emotions after divorce, especially the unexpected divorces.